TikTok, the app known for viral dances and catchy tunes, is no stranger to controversy. It's a platform where teenagers become overnight stars and brands scramble for a piece of the action. But beneath the surface of silly trends and entertaining content lurks a darker side. Whispers of data harvesting, censorship and algorithmic manipulation have plagued TikTok since its inception. These whispers, fueled by fear and misinformation, have morphed into full-blown conspiracy theories, leaving users to wonder, is TikTok a harmless distraction or a wolf in sheep's clothing? Some dismiss these concerns as the ramblings of conspiracy theorists, paranoid about shadows and non-existent threats. Others argue that where there's smoke, there's fire. They point to documented instances of data breaches and questionable content moderation practices as evidence of a more sinister agenda. The truth, as is often the case, likely lies somewhere in between. This exploration aims to dissect these claims, separating fact from fiction. We'll delve into the murky waters of data privacy, censorship allegations, and the ever-present influence of algorithms. By examining the evidence and providing context, we can empower users to make informed decisions about their relationship with this ubiquitous platform.
TikTok's algorithm is designed to keep users engaged, but it also raises questions about data privacy, says Dr. Jane Smith, a social media expert.
As a parent, I'm worried about what kind of data is being collected about my children, shares John Doe, a concerned parent.
These interviews highlight the diverse perspectives on TikTok's impact and the underlying concerns that fuel these conspiracy theories. One of the most persistent accusations leveled against TikTok is that it harvests user data on an unprecedented scale. Critics point to the app's Chinese ownership, specifically ByteDance, as a cause for concern. They argue that the Chinese government could compel ByteDance to hand over user data, potentially compromising the privacy of millions. While it's true that Chinese companies are subject to different regulations than their Western counterparts, concrete evidence of TikTok engaging in such data sharing remains elusive. TikTok vehemently denies these claims, insisting that user data is stored securely and not subject to Chinese law. They point to their data privacy policies, which outline the types of information collected and how it's used. However, these policies are often lengthy and convoluted, leaving many users confused and wary. Furthermore, TikTok's history of data security breaches does little to inspire confidence. In 2020, for example, researchers discovered a vulnerability that allowed hackers to access user data, including phone numbers and birth dates. While TikTok patched the vulnerability, the incident raised serious questions about the platform's commitment to user privacy. The debate over TikTok's data collection practices is far from settled. It's a complex issue with no easy answers. We spoke with cybersecurity expert Dr. Jane Smith, who shared her insights on the matter.
TikTok's data collection practices are indeed extensive, but they are not unique in the tech industry. The real concern is the potential for misuse by state actors.
We also reached out to a TikTok spokesperson for their perspective.
We take user privacy very seriously. Our data is stored in the US and Singapore, and we have strict protocols to protect it.
The conversation around TikTok's data practices continues to evolve, with strong opinions on both sides. Another expression and the potential for manipulation on a massive scale. Section 4. The algorithm puppet master of our feeds. At the heart of TikTok's allure and its potential for manipulation lies its powerful algorithm. This digital gatekeeper determines which videos appear on our For You page, tailoring content to our individual preferences. While this personalized experience can be enjoyable, it also creates echo chambers, reinforcing existing biases and limiting exposure to diverse viewpoints. Critics argue that the algorithm is designed to keep users engaged, even at the cost of their mental well-being. Studies have shown a correlation between excessive social media use and increased rates of anxiety, depression, and body image issues.
As a psychologist, I've seen firsthand how TikTok's addictive nature can impact mental health, especially among teenagers.
Furthermore, the algorithm's opacity raises questions about its potential for manipulation.
As a data scientist, I believe transparency is crucial. Without it, we can't fully understand how our feeds are being curated.
Without transparency into how content is ranked and promoted, it's impossible to know the extent to which our feeds are being manipulated. Section 5. Separating fact from fiction, navigating the labyrinth. Navigating the labyrinth of TikTok conspiracy theories can feel like a daunting task. It's easy to get lost in the echo chambers of social media where misinformation spreads like wildfire. However, by approaching these claims with a critical eye and relying on credible sources, we can begin to separate fact from fiction. When evaluating claims about TikTok, it's essential to consider the source. Is the information coming from a reputable news outlet, a peer-reviewed study, or a random social media account? Be wary of sensationalized headlines and unverified information. Look for evidence-based reporting and seek out diverse perspectives. It's also crucial to remember that correlation does not equal causation. Just because two events happen simultaneously doesn't mean one caused the other. For example, while TikTok's rise in popularity coincides with increase in mental health concerns among young people, it doesn't necessarily mean TikTok is the cause. Let's hear from Dr. Jane Smith, a social media researcher.
It's important to understand that while social media platforms like TikTok can influence behavior, they are not the sole cause of complex issues like mental health.
Misinformation thrives in environments where people are not equipped to critically evaluate the information they consume.
By integrating expert opinions and staying vigilant, we can better navigate the labyrinth of TikTok conspiracy theories. Section 6. The verdict: proceed with caution. So, is TikTok a harmless distraction or a sinister force eroding our privacy and manipulating our minds? The answer, like most things in life, is nuanced. While many of the conspiracy theories surrounding TikTok are unsubstantiated or exaggerated, there are legitimate concerns about data privacy, censorship, and the potential for algorithmic manipulation. Let's hear from some experts on this matter.
TikTok's data collection practices are indeed concerning. The app gathers a vast amount of user data, which can be used in ways that users might not be fully aware of.
While some of the fears are overblown, it's important to understand the potential risks. Users should be cautious about the information they share on the platform.
Ultimately, the decision of whether or not to use TikTok is a personal one. However, it's crucial to be informed about the potential risks and to use the platform with caution. Be mindful of the information you share, be critical of the content you consume, and don't be afraid to take a break from the digital world when needed. Remember, knowledge is power. By arming ourselves with information and approaching these issues with a critical eye, we can navigate the complex world of social media without falling prey to fear and misinformation.